Hi everybody, it's me, Dr. Kestler from Lorain County Community College with my co-video. Today is the 21st of March, and I want to go through a few things today. A couple of them are, first thing I want to talk about is that I want to reinforce the fact that COVID has an end. I showed this exact slide yesterday, but I filled in one more piece of information, and you can see what's going on in Washington State. On the left-hand side, you can see that there's one more piece of data, and of course, New York State. New York State is having a really tough time right now. I think it's probably the ground zero right now in the nation. I guess ground zero is probably a word they're used to in New York, but you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to them in New York as they struggle through. The hospitals are at capacity, but again, you know, this will end. I want you to remember to make plans. Next slide, I'm showing you a picture of plans that I have. I have plans to offer my biology 150 infectious disease, AIDS A to Z, AIDS to Zika, in the summer. And I actually just decided to put it online this summer because I have plans. We have lots of things to plan for when the storm is over, and I think that that is a good thing for you to do. One of the things that people have asked me, and I noticed one of my instructors posted it on her page. You can't get COVID-19 from your pet. This, by the way, is Sneakers, the wonder dog, and in the picture with me. And you can see I'm really close to him. Dogs do harbor coronaviruses. Coronaviruses, we're going to get into a little bit about what a coronavirus is. Dogs do harbor coronaviruses, but not this one. And so there is no risk. Now, as far as cats go, I don't know of any coronavirus in cats, but I will tell you cats have been practicing social distancing since the beginning of time, so there's no problem there. They're very aloof. I'd like to take time to answer a few questions. I'm really backlogged. I apologize if I'm not getting to all your questions, and some of you ask the same sort of questions. So, you know, if you see me answer a question, I will. First question is about virus load and when you actually get disease. Virus load, I just touched my face, so I'm going to have to wash my hands with that finger especially. I touched my mustache. I'm going to have to wash my face afterwards. One of the things that what a virus load is a virus amount. And you need to have a certain amount of virus in you before you get disease. And so it is that is true of all viruses. So you need to get up to a certain extent before you actually experience disease. Generally speaking, for most viruses, it is at the beginning, and then it kind of tapers off as you begin to make an immune response. And so there are some people that are, I like to call people who are adept at handling viruses as controllers. They're able to control viruses better than others, and that's why you see in some people mild infections, and some people severe infections. The severe infections, they're both very real kinds of phenomenon. The next question is about stability, and this is obviously from a person who's taken my class because I can see about HIV in there. And HIV is a retrovirus. Coronaviruses are RNA viruses, and so there's a slight difference there, and so there is a coronavirus that is one of the viruses that we would call the common cold. Common cold, there's a lot of different viruses. It's a very poor word to describe what we're talking about. And let's see. There is no long lingering persistence. It is not a retrovirus. A retrovirus stays with you for your whole life. Lentiviruses can persist inside of you for your whole life. This is not one of those viruses. There are some viruses that can persist a long time. Ebola was an example that kind of lingered a little bit longer than other viruses, but not this one. This one is one that eventually will go away. And I see that question about what was this virus around previously? It may have been in the area earlier on. I will tell you one other thing. I was going to talk about this today, but I might talk about it tomorrow, and that is, I believe that the social distancing, or shall I say the physical distancing that we are experiencing right now, I think it is starting to work. I've been looking at the data and studying it, and I hope to present that tomorrow. Let me just show you the different kinds of RNA viruses here. This is a chart that's actually lifted from my class, and you can see there is the orthomyxoviruses, which influenza is an example of. Those are segmented genomes. Orthomyxoviruses, like flu, can do something that we call antigenic shift, which is viruses that are exchanging chromosomes. And that is not the case in the case of coronaviruses, which is an RNA virus, and it is not a retrovirus. You'll see the retrovirus category in the middle of this slide right here. The retrovirus is one that integrates into the DNA. That is not the case with coronaviruses. The coronaviruses undergo something that we call antigenic drift, which is they change slowly. And I've been seeing a lot of talk about that, and I want to talk a little bit about the receptor for the virus. So we know a little bit about the receptor. We learned a little bit about it in recent papers and about mutations. And so there are some mutations. A virus, here's a virus on top and the host receptor and the viral receptor binding protein. By the way, a lot of people call that the spike of the virus. I prefer the word viral receptor binding protein. And if you'll see, the next paper talks a little bit about the SARS virus and compares it genetically to other viruses. And you'll see in this next, in figure 1 here, you can see the DNA sequences of the viruses, the DNA sequence of this RNA virus. I know that sounds kind of funny to say, but I meant what I said. And you can see that there are some changes in there, especially in what we call the receptor binding protein, the receptor, the part that interacts with the receptor, the viral receptor binding protein that interacts with the host receptor. And there are some changes in there. There's some similarities. Viruses do go through evolution. Viruses make small changes. There does not appear to be any changes that have occurred abruptly. And there is, I think I addressed in last Saturday's podcast, I addressed the issue of whether a virus will actually mutate towards something more pathogenic. That is, generally speaking, not the way things go. Generally speaking, evolution is towards non-pathogenicity. And then the final question I'm going to answer is about when we get out of this. What if we're very successful, and I think we are, in the physical distancing protocols that we're undertaking, and we drive the virus down, will we never come out? And the answer is we can come out after this without having everybody vaccinated. And simply put is, if we eliminate all the hosts, the virus will go away. If we can stay home long enough to get rid of all of the new infections, then the virus has nowhere to go. And if we wait a good 60 hours, all the surfaces have been cleaned away, and then we can come out and we can go out in the front of our house and we can do a little dance. And I think I know the one I'm going to do. I think I know what I'm going to do when that happens. So it does have an end without vaccination. We are not going to be holed up for months and months and months. But the more we stay in, the better off we'll be. And that answers the last question is sort of similar. That's the whole principle. We do not have to have to be holed up for the next 18 months till we get a vaccine. I think we can be all right with that. I'll remember. I want to just say one last thing, and that is, I put this up yesterday. I'm hearing wonderful stories. One story I heard was about a guy who was a caterer, and he was catering a bar mitzvah in Minnesota. And the owner, of course, called him up and said, "We can't. We have to cancel." And the owner, the person he was working for, the client said, "We have to cancel because of the COVID-19 virus." And the guy who had the client said to him, "But I want you to keep the money and just take care of your people." And that's a great story. I heard that on the business report last night. And there are lots of them. So, be the helper. And those of you who need help, let yourself be helped. There are wonderful people out there. We are a great nation of people who help each other. And that's all I got for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to remind you all to be good to each other, and may you persist like a lentivirus.